Today, we take a look at South Korea's creepiest abandoned building. Sitting in the mountains south of Seoul, Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital has been giving locals the chills for decades. We're talking flickering shadows, disembodied voices, and maybe even a ghost or two. So loosen up, grab your EMF readers, and let's dive into the spine-chilling world of Gonjiam Haunted Asylum. Welcome to Screamville. In 1982, the Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital, or Gonjiam Jongsinbyongwon, Gonjiam Namyang Neuropsychiatric Hospital, opened its doors just outside Gyeonggi-do, South Korea, thanks to a visionary, or possibly overly ambitious, Mr. Hong. The original structure was a sprawling 11,000 square meters, spread over 3 floors. By the early 1990s, 2 additional buildings were added, tacking on another 500 square meters because apparently the ghosts in training needed more room to practice their spooking. But by July 1996, the hospital shut its doors, leaving the place to slowly morph into a real-life horror movie set, complete with peeling paint, eerie silence, and a decade-spanning vacancy. Cue the rumors. And not the office gossip kind. Oh no. These were the dark, twisted, hair-raising kind that make you triple-check the locks at night. The abandoned hospital became a hotspot for ghost hunters and urban explorers, all clamoring to experience the creepy vibes firsthand. It didn't take long for Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital to be crowned one of South Korea's top 3 haunted locations, a title we assume was earned after a spirited debate with its ghostly competitors. For years, Gonjiam's infamy was mostly local. That is until 2012, when CNN decided to up the ante by featuring it as one of the world's most terrifying places. Suddenly, this spectral superstar went global because what's scarier than ghosts? Ghosts with international acclaim. Now let's be honest, digging into the history of Gonjiam is like trying to assemble a jigsaw puzzle with pieces from 10 different sets. Most of the research available in English is limited, and Korean sources can't seem to agree on specifics. So take it all with a grain of salt, or maybe an entire salt shaker. Gonjiam might not perfectly represent the history of psychiatric hospitals in South Korea, but it sure left behind a legacy worth shivering over. So, what's all the ghostly gossip about? Why does this particular abandoned hospital have such a terrifying reputation? Well, for starters, the building looks like it was plucked straight out of a Hollywood set for Haunted Asylum, the movie. Picture this: collapsed ceilings, endless echoing hallways, doors that shut themselves like they're auditioning for paranormal activity, and patient rooms strewn with ancient mattresses and eerie personal belongings that scream, "I was left behind for a reason." From the outside, it's a concrete monstrosity, complete with a zigzagging exterior staircase and gaping blackened windows that stare back at you like the eyes of a soulless entity. It's practically begging for a ghost story, and naturally, 1 or 10 showed up. According to local legend, Gonjiam wasn't just any hospital, it was a one-way ticket to terror. Patients reportedly started dying under mysterious circumstances, which allegedly forced the hospital to shut down for good. The finger-pointing began, and wouldn't you know it, all fingers pointed at the hospital's owner, rumored to be less of a healer and more of a horror movie villain. Accusations flew that he was holding patients hostage and, well, doing unspeakable things. Naturally, the guy pulled a classic villain escape move and fled to America when authorities and angry families started sniffing around. But wait, there's more. Another version of the legend claims the doctors and the hospital director weren't exactly picture-perfect professionals either. The story goes that working alongside mentally ill patients drove them mad, or perhaps the building itself got into their heads. The director's spiral into insanity allegedly ended in a tragic death, with some insisting he was possessed by a vengeful spirit hell-bent on ruining lives. And the grand finale? A whole cast of ghosts supposedly haunts the abandoned halls. Former patients who met grisly fates at the hands of psychotic doctors or the allegedly murderous owner. While the living might steer clear, these spectral residents are apparently stuck there forever, giving Gonjiam the kind of haunted reputation most buildings can only dream or scream of. The truth behind Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital's closure is, well, kind of a buzzkill. No deranged directors, no murderous owners, and no ghostly malpractice scandals here. The real culprit? Finances. Yep, the scariest thing of all, money problems. When South Korea's Water Source Protection Act rolled out, Gonjiam was suddenly required to install a new sewage treatment facility. Cue a heated debate between the hospital's owner and director. One thought it wasn't worth the cash, and the other probably muttered, Do you really want to keep flushing our profits down the drain? Before they could settle the argument, the elderly owner passed away in 1997. The new facility was never built. The hospital shut its doors, and that was that. Fast forward to when the owner's son inherited the property. Instead of, say, maintaining it, he let the building rot away like leftovers forgotten in the fridge. Meanwhile, the hospital's director, far from jumping out of windows or succumbing to madness, he was busy moving on with his life and reportedly opened another psychiatric hospital in Gangwon-do. No spooky drama, just real-world bureaucracy and budgeting woes. As for all those spine-chilling rumors, turns out a good chunk of the ghostly gossip comes from a South Korean TV show called Solve with the logic of PD Lee Young-dan, Yeongdan PD Nonriro Pulda, which featured the so-called hauntings at Gonjiam. A sprinkle of TV magic, some eerie visuals, and voila, a legend was born. Let's face it though, when a building looks as creepy as Gonjiam, with its cracked walls and yawning windows, it practically begs for a supernatural backstory. But for the locals who lived nearby, the real nightmare wasn't restless spirits or deranged doctors, it was just a good old-fashioned case of neglect and red tape. How unhauntingly relatable. Like so many abandoned buildings with a spooky reputation, Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital was basically a theme park for trespassers, minus the overpriced snacks and safety regulations. Security cameras? Check. Barbed wire? Check. Legal threats plastered in both Korean and English? Double check. They even had security guards patrolling like it was Area 51. Google Maps jumped on the bandwagon and suspended Street View for the stretch of road in front of the main gate. But let's be honest, none of that was going to stop a determined ghost hunter with a flashlight and a questionable sense of adventure. If people wanted in, they were getting in. Here's the kicker. While pop culture insists creepy asylums must be hidden away in misty woods or on lonely hills, Gonjiam's main gate sat smack dab next to private homes. Forget restless spirits. The real terror was the endless parade of strangers skulking through the neighborhood at all hours, turning a peaceful town into South Korea's unofficial trespasser capital. Locals were understandably not thrilled about this, and the police? They probably wished they could issue ghost hunting licenses just to cut down on the constant calls about break-ins. Then in 2018, the South Korean horror film Gonjiam Haunted Asylum dropped, and things got even messier. Although the movie was mostly filmed at Busan National Maritime High School, another haunted hotspot, that didn't stop thrill seekers from swarming Gonjiam like it was hosting a paranormal Black Friday sale. To make matters worse, the hospital's owner, clearly fed up with the never-ending drama, filed a lawsuit to block the film's release, arguing that the rumors were making it impossible to sell the place. But the Seoul court basically shrugged and said, yeah, no, and the movie hit theaters anyway. After years of trespassers, lawsuits, and endless spooky hype, the fate of Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital was finally sealed. But let's face it, no amount of legal action or security measures could ever shut down its legend. Visiting Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital today, know anyone with a time machine? Before you dust off your ghost hunting gear and book a ticket to Seoul, here's a buzzkill. Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital has been demolished. Yep, as of May 28, 2018, not long after the release of the Gonjiam Haunted Asylum movie, the legendary spooky site was reduced to rubble, ending its reign as a ghost hunter's Disneyland. But wait, it gets better, or worse depending on your sense of humor. In the months following the demolition, proposals for the site ranged from practical to outright ironic. One suggestion was to turn the place into a horror-themed attraction, because what better way to honor the years of local misery than by doubling down on the creepy? Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective, a real estate consultant nixed the idea, saying, it doesn't match the vibes of the Gonjiam residents. Translation, the locals were done with random strangers sneaking through their backyards in the middle of the night. Instead, plans leaned toward something more boring, an industrial or villa complex. But as of a 2022 satellite view, the site remains an empty field, as if even the land itself is too traumatized to host new tenants. Maybe the ghosts got squatters' rights. For now, Gonjiam lives on only through the internet, with countless brave or reckless explorers documenting its eerie corridors and ghostly atmosphere before the bulldozers rolled in. If you're up for some chills and don't mind sleeping with the lights on, here are a few video recommendations to get your spooky fix. Mellowcat. Hong Kong YouTuber. Creepy abandoned Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital. Mellowcat and her friend take a casual shortcut through the mountains to sneak onto the hospital grounds. Even in daylight, the vibes are absolutely not it. At one point, they hear footsteps on the floor above them. Was it a ghost? Another explorer? Bigfoot? You decide. Sintail Dasibogi, Korean YouTuber. Chogawasantail Gonjam Jongsim Byongweon, 3 Da Hyunga Tleheom. In this nighttime exploration, two friends dive headfirst into the dark halls of Gonjiam. They even stumble upon what appears to be chunks of human hair on the floor. Thanks to the low video quality, the whole thing feels like an accidental found footage horror movie. No subtitles, but fear transcends language, right? Yunsuwon, Korean ghost hunter, Gonjiam Mental Hospital in Korea. This is one of the scariest places in the world for a full guided tour, because who doesn't want a ghost hunter as their tour guide? Yoon Si-won takes viewers through the hospital's patient rooms, admin offices, creepy bathrooms, the roof, and even the basement. Watching this, you'll almost smell the mildew and regret. While Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital may be physically gone, its legend lives on through these videos and the nightmares they might inspire. But hey, at least you don't have to worry about trespassing fines anymore. Room 402 at Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital is infamous in South Korea's urban legend circles and has become a focal point for ghost stories, paranormal investigations, and curious thrill seekers. Many consider it the most haunted spot in the already eerie and abandoned hospital. Here's a breakdown of what makes Room 402 so terrifying and why no one dares to open the door. Room 402 is widely believed to be the epicenter of paranormal activity at Gonjiam. Visitors have reported hearing eerie noises, like footsteps, whispers, and loud bangs, emanating from the room, even when the building was empty. Some claim to feel an overwhelming sense of dread near its door, while others have experienced sudden cold chills or the sensation of being watched. The door to room 402 is famously closed and locked. According to the legend, it's not merely stuck due to decay or debris. Many believe that an unseen force is preventing it from being opened. Multiple accounts tell of people attempting to force the door open, only to feel an unnatural resistance, as though something, or someone, is holding it shut from the other side. There are several theories about why room 402 might be so paranormally active. Some speculate that the room was the site of a patient's violent death, possibly a death or murder. It's said that their restless spirit continues to inhabit the room, guarding it from intrusion. Paranormal investigators often point to the theory that the room may have been a focal point for suffering or despair during the hospital's operation. This could have created a lingering psychic imprint, amplifying the hauntings. A more dramatic theory suggests that room could be a portal or gateway, allowing spirits to cross into our world. This might explain why the activity around the room is so intense. Many urban explorers and ghost hunters have tried to unlock the mysteries of the room. However, reports consistently claim that the door resists all attempts to open it. Even those with tools to pry it open report hearing strange noises or feeling inexplicable fear that drives them away before they succeed. In one particularly famous incident, a group of visitors claimed to hear loud banging on the inside of the door while they attempted to open it, despite no one being inside. Another group reported feeling a strong, cold gust of air as they approached the door, causing them to flee the hospital. No one knows for sure. Skeptics suggest that the door's stubbornness is likely due to years of decay, rust, and debris buildup. Others argue it's simply part of the mystique that surrounds the hospital, exaggerated by rumors and pop culture. Yet, believers insist that something supernatural is at work, guarding the room's secrets. Next up on our Gonjiam Greatest Hits list, the wheelchair that moves on its own. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never seen a wheelchair in a hurry. They're not exactly known for their speed or agility, but in Gonjiam, anything is possible, especially when ghosts are involved. Picture this. You're exploring a dark and dusty hallway, the only sound your own breathing and the occasional creak of the floorboards. Suddenly, out of the corner of your eye, you see it. A lone wheelchair slowly rolling down the hallway as if pushed by an invisible hand. Some say the wheelchair is inhabited by the spirit of a former patient, unable to rest and doomed to roam the halls for eternity. No haunted asylum would be complete without its fair share of shadowy figures, and Gonjiam is no exception. Visitors report seeing dark, indistinct shapes lurking in the hallways, disappearing around corners just as quickly as they appear. Some describe these figures as tall and menacing, while others claim they are smaller and more childlike. Maybe it's the way they seem to move with a purpose, as if they're searching for something or someone. Whatever the reason, the shadowy figures of Gonjiam are a constant reminder that you're not alone in this abandoned asylum. If you thought shadowy figures were creepy, wait till you hear about the sound of children laughing in Gonjiam. Now, I love a good chuckle as much as the next guy, but there's something inherently unsettling about hearing kids laughing in an abandoned asylum. Visitors report hearing these ghostly giggles echoing through the halls, often coming from rooms that are supposed to be empty. Of course, there are always those more rational folks who claim the laughter is just pipes groaning or animals scurrying around, but let's be honest, where's the fun in that? And there you have it, the creepy, mysterious, and haunted truth about Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital. Whether it was the peeling paint, the dark hallways, or just the weight of its abandoned history, Gonjiam managed to capture the imagination of ghost hunters and thrill seekers alike. Now that it's been demolished, all we've got left are the stories and a vacant lot where the ghosts are probably holding auditions for their next haunted gig. Speaking of haunted gigs, have you seen the movie Gonjiam Haunted Asylum that we talked about earlier? It's like a found footage fever dream with enough jump scares to make you spill your popcorn. Did it do the hospital justice, or was it just another spooky cash grab? Let me know in the comments. I'm dying to hear what you think. See what I did there? If you enjoyed this dive into the world of Gonjiam and you love all things creepy, haunted, and just plain weird, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's like opening a door to a haunted hallway. You never know what's waiting for you on the other side. But in this case, it's more spooky content, not ghosts. And don't forget to ring that bell icon because you wouldn't want to miss any of my ghostly uploads. Trust me, even the spirits are subscribed. Thanks for joining me on this paranormal adventure. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and if you ever find yourself wandering near an abandoned building, maybe think twice before going in. Who knows what, or who, might be waiting for you.